little repair that you had to have done after your World Indoor medal. Where are you at? What are you looking forward to here tomorrow?
Yeah, it's getting better. I feel like I finally turned a corner last week. It's just been a long, frustrating few months. I got a PRP injection in my Achilles for some tendinosis, and it's just been lingering, and I've been able to vault, and it's gone well, but I've had to wait like 4 more days before I could jump or run on it again, so it's just been long and frustrating. But like I said, I feel like I turned a corner. My practices have been really good, so while I don't know what to expect tomorrow, because I don't know what my competition battery is going to be like, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes well, because my vaulting has been really good when I've been able to do it. My lifting is better than ever, so we'll see. I'm just excited to get out there and see where I'm at.
Yeah, so to ask you what success would look like tomorrow at the Pre-Classic, you genuinely, have you got any goal whatsoever? Because you were vaulting, you know, you had so little vaulting time into the World Indoors in Glasgow when you picked up another medal.
Yeah.
You must have, as an athlete, we all have, you must have a target of something that you're going to smile when you leave Eugene tomorrow.
Yeah, I really think as long as I can just jump several bars, feeling good, feeling mostly pain-free, and whatever that is, I would love to walk away with an 80-plus bar. I think that's always kind of my goal and how I approach a competition. And in the back of my mind, always something that's there is my coach broke the American record at Prefontaine, so while I don't know that I'm necessarily in that kind of form, it's always something that would be really special. So yeah, I'm trying not to have too many expectations for myself other than just go out there, execute. I know my training's been going well, so just try to do that to the best of your ability.
Super. Let's pass on then to somebody whose training has clearly gone well, who is in good form already this season, Joe. You've got a smile. What's this there? 22.93 in LA. You're up from number 2 of the world rankings so far. So somebody's done very well to carry on that winning bust from the Diamond League final here last year. Happy with where you're at? What you're hoping for tomorrow?
Yeah, well, I'm super excited to start off. Like, you know, LA was essentially my opener, and I threw the exact same distance I threw last year here at Prefontaine to win. So you literally started off exactly where you left it, and that's a really good feeling to go into the season. To start at a high level when you know the body's still going to peak more, there's more rhythm to come, and there's more far throws in the back.
When we chat, which is normally a pre most years, right, we always have a little chit-chat, folks, about what have you been tweaking? What have you been changing in training to get those extra centimetres? What has Joe Kovacs tweaked or changed this year with such a big year with players?
Yeah, I think, you know, every year you have to, I've never done it the same. This is, I think, my 10th or 11th Prefontaine. I was trying to calculate it. My first time was 2013, and I know with COVID it got canceled, so it's up there. I've been there quite a bit, and every single time you come into, especially this meet, because it is really a preview before the U.S. Championships, you're coming into this mindset of the setup, and I think that my wife was my coach, and you know, our plan is really set up well. So I think we're really just trying to execute the things that we know, to control the controllables, and you know, technically and physically, I'm in the best shape I've been, and I think that there's even more levels to get unlocked. But of course, that comes with these meets, the adrenaline, and also the pressure, which, you know, it's always stressful, but also that's what gives you big results too.
What is it in your training, Joe, that when you say I'm technically in the best shape, I'm physically in the best shape, what is it that is telling you that?
Yeah, I think we focus a lot on bringing we call it my bottom end up, especially going into the U.S. Championships and the Olympic trials, making sure you're top 3 on that team. When you know your bad day is at a level that somebody else would have to be at their best day to get close to, it gives you a sense of comfort to start pushing. Of course, we want those really crazy far throws. We have a shot put ring in our backyard, and when I hit the mulch of the bushes in the back of the sector, my wife gets real happy because we know that's a meter past anything I've ever done in competition. And I think I've been hitting the mulch quite a bit lately. So I know technically I'm there, but I'm really happy that my series in LA and the consistency and that bottom end is giving me the comfort that there's nothing to stress about. Let's just go out there and take a swing and put on a good show, especially tomorrow.
Like you always do. Jorinde, let's move across to you. I mentioned in the intro there for everybody watching from around the world, Dutch of course, but a former Oregon Duck, 4th at last year's Pre-Classic. You've had some brilliant results here Hayward Field. Do you never tire of walking out into Hayward Field for a competition like you're going to have tomorrow, which is stacked as well, isn't it? How are the excitement levels for you every single time you do it?
I don't think anyone can get tired of competing in Hayward, and I think even training here is obviously a privilege. I haven't seen all the stadiums in the US, but this must be one of the prettiest ones, right? And everyone always talks about the magic of Hayward, and I don't know what it is, but it is a thing. And I think just it is a privilege to come here and compete here, and especially when you know it's your home turf, basically. It's really cool, and I think the crowd feels the magic, but we definitely do as well.
And how does it work for you? We're talking about the national championships, obviously, that are coming up for the US athletes here in 4 weeks' time. But for the Dutch team and all the other teams around the world, how does this meet fit into what you've got to box tick for that Olympic team?
Yeah, that's a good question. It definitely works differently for us than it does in the US. For the Netherlands specifically, usually not more than 3 people get the standard. So usually you would be safe if you make like the A standard of the Olympics. But I think in the shot put we are going to have at least 4 girls this year that can go to the Olympics. So then they just look at your accolades, right? Like how you did in previous championships, what your season's bests are. And I think for now it's just really seeing if I set myself up right for Europeans, which are in 2 weeks. Which is honestly crazy to have Europeans this early, but that's just, yeah, like you want to have your head at Paris already, but at the same time, you have to really prepare for Europeans because you want to do well there as well. So I think for me, this weekend is going to be about what last adjustments do I need to make before Europeans.
Was there ever a question of not doing those European Championships in Rome in such a big year? Was that always on the cards, I'm going to do both?
It was always in the cards because I obviously made this stubborn choice of doing shot and disc. And it's been a very long time, I think since '69, that someone has medaled in both events at the same, at least in Europeans. So I think that goal is too big for me to let Europeans pass and not really give it my all to really medal in both, hopefully there.
And that's a big ask in European throwing, right? That's a really big ask. Well, it is important then tomorrow with the result that you get. Let's move on to Shenika at the end then. Welcome back, another Diamond League winner, of course, in September last year, 15:03. Hop, stepped and jumped here at Hayward Field. And how are you doing this year? Where are we at, Shenika? How are you feeling?
I'm doing great. Last year, small correction, I was second. But,
Excuse me?
Yes, that's fine. But this year I'm definitely hoping to be more consistent over the 15-meter barrier. Last year I was able to jump 15 3 times, and I think this year I'm just working on being more consistent. And I think a lot of that has to do with being patient throughout the jump phases, and also not just the phases but also throughout the season, making sure that everything that needs to be done is being corrected in training so that it can show during the competitions. So that's one of the things that I've been focusing on. And basically I opened my season in Jamaica this year, and I was in LA last weekend, so I'm just hoping to get a season best at this meet and build going up into the Paris Olympic Games.
We talk about the magic of Hayward Field, don't we, folks? And we talk about the speed of the pole vault runway, the speed of the throwing circles. What's the triple jump, the long jump run-up like here for you, Shenika? Is it one of your favourite run-ups here at Hayward Field, and if so, why?
Yes, I went to school at San Diego State University. I was able to win 3 NCAA titles, I think 2 of which was at the Hayward Field. So I think I have great luck here. And I think the runway is very suitable to great competition. So I'm just looking forward to doing well and getting an even bigger distance this year.
And there's always a great camaraderie. We see it all the time in the field eventers in particular, pole vaulters in particular. You're a great family, it seems, the field eventers. Is that the same, Shenika, in the triple jump? And therefore, you always want to compete against the best. So did you feel for the likes of Guillermo Rojas, who is missing the Olympics in Paris, because you always want to compete against the best athletes, right?
Yes, think for personal development, it's good to compete against the best because it pushes your limits. And I think Yulimar will be missed in the Olympic Games, but I think we have a world-class field of athletes who have been doing consistently well. And so the event will be represented well at the Paris Olympic Games.
And then finally, one question across the line. You've all had such good success at Hayward Field. Jorinde mentioned that magic. What is it? Katie, come on, try and sum up. For somebody that's never competed at Pre or never visited Pre, how would you even try to sum up what the Pre-Classic meets like?
Gosh, it's hard to sum it up. I think Hayward Magic sums it up perfectly because there is no glaring reason why, but it is kind of magical. It's just the crowd. For the pole vault, with it being on the straight, I love that. I think a lot of pole vaulters like that. And you're right up against the crowd, you feel a bit closer to them, you can feel their energy more, but the runway is just really fast, but really consistent, and it's just, yeah, it's hard to put it into words. I think magic kind of sums it up perfectly.
You're smiling, Joe, come on,
Yeah,
what
sure.
is it?
No, there's definitely Hayward magic, and you know, I told my wife the other day we went to the stadium just for practice, I was like, it feels like you just put on a new shirt and pop the tag off every time you walk in here, because it's a vibe rather than just like, oh, of course it looks nice, but you know, everything's edged perfectly. The landscaping is great, though I hope to put a couple holes in the grass that ends up falling far enough if I do. But you know, it's that feeling, and I think for me as a shot putter here in the U.S., like this meet used to pride itself in having the most 70-foot shot put throws of all time. It still does. We don't talk about 70 feet as being a far throw anymore, but it's one of those things that when you came to this meet in the past, there was only one line out there at 70 feet. And like you were expected to be part of history by making your ball go past that. Now, of course, maybe it's a 22-meter line or 23-meter line, but I think this meet itself has some like obligation of being a thrower to make sure you put on the show and you're ready for it.
That's it, you're interested. Putting on the show in one of the best environments.
It's really hard to answer this question because it's really a feeling, right? But I think just as soon as you step into the stadium and you know what all happened here before you want to do right by all the people that came before you, right? And you know you got to bring your A game to really show it, you know? And as soon as you step into the stadium, however your day was before that, I feel like you step in and you know, like, it's going to be all right. I can do really well today. Look at the stadium. I might as well match this energy. Yeah.
Never a problem to match the energy, Shenika, no?
Yes, I think it's just the atmosphere. I think everyone during the competition just wants to do well, and I think being in an environment where it's conducive to jump well or to throw far, I think it just comes with the territory, and just everyone's just going after big distances, great performances.
Comes with the territory, folks. Just poised in the same top as Joe. Any questions?
I got one for Ms. Van. This is working.
You can shout, we can probably hear you.
For Ms. Van Klinken, obviously Oregon has been a special place for you. Coach Blue has done a phenomenal job with you. I want to get your perspective on what Jada Ross did yesterday. Over 20 meters, first collegiate woman ever in shot put history to do that.
Amazing question. I was at Hayward yesterday when it happened, and I think the whole track at that point knew that she'd thrown 20 because I was kind of going crazy. I knew she was capable of it, but to do it at regionals in 3 throws when there's just so much pressure because as the top dog coming in, right, you only have something to lose. So for her to pull that off in 3 throws and for her to throw 20 meters as like within her collegiate age, because we see a lot of like 6 and 7 years, she's within her collegiate like age, I think is phenomenal. And Coach Blue impresses me every day, and I think he's proven an insane amount of times that he is one of the best coaches out there. And yeah, I love seeing him do his magic with other people every time. Yeah.
One more up front.
Oh, there we go. Hi, I'm Serenity with CBS 19 from the Dallas area. My question is for Katie Moon. For starters, I love your outfit.
Thank you.
And I saw that you have a vaulting clinic coming up. So can you please speak to why having vaulting clinics like this is so important for you guys' event specifically?
Well, so actually, it's just an elite meet, so it's not a clinic. But I've been a part of a lot of pole vault clinics, and I think at my university, especially Ashland University, they always put on clinics, and I always try to be a part of it when I can. And I think just that's the way you grow the sport, is by getting the youth involved. I think pole vault is something that isn't seen in everyday life very often, and so in my case, when I saw the high schoolers doing it, I had to try it. I knew I had to try it, and I want to give that opportunity to kids, because I think that's the reason you're seeing the women's side grow so much, is because it was only in the Olympics since 2000, and it's just the more girls that are doing it at a young age, the better it's going to get, the more depth we're going to have. And yeah, so I think just having clinics are so great. I think it allows kids to try new things, try new events, and also get that foundation that is priceless.
One at the front here, Jeff and Larry.
This is for Joe. Joe, when you're competing, you seem so focused. Do you have any idea what the fans are screaming or anything around you? Are you just, like last week watching you throw, you completed the throws fantastic each time. So you've got to be just focused on the moment. Do you know what's going on around you?
I definitely know the environment for sure. You know, it might not be exactly what they're cheering or what's going on, but I definitely know, when I'm out there, I try to have this mindset of execution. Like, why am I there? There's a purpose for every step I'm doing. You know, it's either helping or hurting me. So while I'm out there, I'm just trying to take every step with purpose. So by the time I get called back in the ring, I'm bringing that purpose back into it. But of course, I mean, especially being in Hayward, Katie might be jumping on the other side of the stadium and they go nuts for her. That energy definitely transfers out to us in the middle of the ring, and it just builds and builds. So I think that's one of the cool things about our sport is, we are kind of a three-ring circus with so many things going on at one time. But if it's done right, Prefontaine does this right, there's this constant flow that goes back and forth, and the energy kind of shifts throughout, and the shot putters, us in the middle, just try to steal as much as they can as it goes back and forth.
I love that. Great questions. Thank you. Best of luck tomorrow, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, our field event representatives, can we have a picture as well just before you leave, guys?